You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Ethan Haristodoulou.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Greeks Gridiron. I am Ethan Haristodoulou. It's March 3rd, 2022, and today we are continuing on with our Best Free Agent Fit series, where today I am covering the Indianapolis Colts, giving out a couple of names that I would like to see them go after in this year's free agency period when it kicks off in just about a couple of weeks. So, as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, check out all the other videos. I'm doing all 32 teams right now. I think I've cranked out 6 now. This will be number 7. And let's get into it, shall we? So, the Indianapolis Colts, if you have followed my channel, you will know that I am a Colts fan. You can see I, right above me, have an Andrew Luck and a Peyton Manning jersey. I also have Brady and Breeze behind me, but that's just because I appreciate them as the players that they were. But I am a Colts fan. I always tell everyone I'm a football fan first and then a Colts fan second. I like to think that I'm very realistic with my Colts fanhood and how the team feels. They have pretty much performed year over year as I've expected them to the last few years since I've been able to kind of like step myself back and look at the Colts for what they really are. And this is a team that there is a lot of good pieces. I understand a lot of people look at them like playoff darlings, and while I thought the Colts might have done a little bit better this year, was I surprised when they finished up 9-8? No, because I figured that was probably going to be like on the bad side of things for them. So, and I was never really sold on the whole Carson Wentz thing. And from the sounds of it, people up in charge over in Indy are not quite sold on it either. But we're not talking quarterback today. I don't really think there's anyone in free agency that the Colts should go after as far as quarterback is concerned. I think if they're going to make a big change there, it's either someone in the draft that they really like, if there is someone of that nature, or they're going to get him through some trade. Whoever it ends up being, I don't really know. I feel like it's very hard to try to dissect what the Colts are going to do at quarterback right now because everyone is very non-committal about what they're going to do. So up until this point, there's no concrete answer, and I think you can't really make any calls. But with regards to free agency and who I would like to see them go after, I have 2 different positions in mind. I have one for offense and I have one for defense. The first one that I'm going to talk to you guys about is going to be for the offensive line, and it is going to be the big name for linemen in free agency, left tackle Teron Armstead. As a Colts fan, this is probably the only free agent acquisition I truly want them to get after and bring home. Teron Armstead would bring stability, would solidify the line and bring it back to where it was just a couple of years ago as one of the best units in the NFL. Teron Armstead is an unbelievable tackle. He has been an unbelievable tackle for the last some odd number of years. If you're signing him, I'm thinking it's like a 3 or 4 year deal. You ride him out into his mid-30s and then revisit there and see how he's doing. This is literally my dream scenario as a Colts fan for the offensive line. I don't think the Saints are going to be able to bring him back. They are in cap hell again for the second year in a row. Granted, not as bad as last year. They were $100 million over the cap. This year they started out 75, and they're still working their way down. But again, they are still dealing with cutting people, restructuring money and whatnot. And I just have a feeling they will not be able to afford the 16, 17, 18, 19 million, maybe even more that Teron Armstead's probably going to command. Ever since Anthony Costanzo retired, I feel like there has just been a gaping hole on the left-hand side. And while I do appreciate what Eric Fisher did for the team in stepping up and filling into that role this past season, I don't think he ended up being as good as I was hoping him to be. I thought playing alongside Quentin Nelson would really help him elevate his play. And do I know how healthy he actually was? No, and I'm also really interested into how healthy he actually was, and maybe there's more to him not playing. I'm not going to sit here and say he didn't play well, because there were spurts of times where he was playing really well, but there were also times where I was like, man, this is not the answer for the left tackle spot. I'm curious how healthy he was when he came back to play in that October time period, whenever it was when he finally came back from his injury. Maybe if he comes back again for another year and he's actually over a year removed from his Achilles injury, he plays better, he's more comfortable planting off that foot and being more explosive. Maybe not. I don't know. But as a Colts fan, you guys have $35.8 million, and assuming they don't, keep a couple of guys, they cut them and move on from them, maybe they end up with more money, but at this moment in time, $35.8 million to play with. And couple that with the fact that you have all your big name talent pretty much locked up aside from Quentin Nelson at this point. If you look at it, Darius Leonard has been paid. They paid Braden Smith. Ryan Kelly's under contract. He'll be up for renewal in a few years. But realistically speaking, all of the massive big name talent that you need to... Oh, Darius Leonard is another guy. I don't know if I said him already, but all the really big expensive guys are already paid for, and you're still looking at $35.8 million. And if they do move on from Wentz, I believe the Colts can save about $13 million or so. So you're looking at near $50 million to play with. Allocate that money to the offensive line. Do what you've been doing the last few years. Commit to the offensive line. Dump your money into the offensive line, because I firmly believe having a great O-line will lead to success with whoever ends up being under center next year. I am all in on the Teron Armstead sweepstakes. I hope that the Colts give him every single dollar and then some that he wants. And for me, I'm totally fine with them moving on with Carson Wentz. And if that's the case and that's your plan come free agency, when you are a little bit more, you've made more decisions and you're more concrete on that. If you know you're going to move on from Wentz, then you have no trouble at all giving Teron Armstead whatever the hell he wants. You give him every single dollar and every single penny, and maybe even a little bit more just to sweeten the deal. I'm all for it. The second guy that I would like to see Indianapolis take on the defensive side of the ball, cornerback. I think the room needs a little bit of an upgrade. I would like to see Dante Jackson from the Panthers if he does not end up being re-signed by them. And the reason I say Dante Jackson is because I do think he is the odd man out over there in Carolina. Obviously, they drafted a rookie at corner last year. They traded for Stephon Gilmore. They brought in C.J. Henderson as well. I don't really know if that's going to end up really changing much, because I don't really think he did too much for the team. While Dante Jackson has been a dude in that secondary, he almost feels like he might be the odd man out. Just because why trade for Stephon Gilmore this past season if you're not going to try to lock him up and keep him around? And the fact that he has a home in the Carolina area just makes more and more sense of maybe he stays on the East Coast, he stays there. He already has a home there and everything. I'm sure that they can offer him whatever money they need if they opt to let guys like Dante Jackson and maybe some others go. And the rumors have swirled that they might be willing to move on from Christian McCaffrey. And if that's the case, that opens up more money. I would like to see Dante Jackson in Indianapolis. He's great in zone. I think that I'm not really 100% sold on Rock Ya-Sin at this point. I've liked him, but I just don't know if he's the answer in being able to be one of the number one outside guys. We obviously have Kenny Moore, who handles the slot. Jackson would be a great guy on the outside, and we just kind of go from there. The emergence of Isaiah Rodgers does make cornerback maybe slightly less of a need, but then you have Xavier Rhodes, who took a big step back from what he had with what was a monster 2020 for him in Indy. So I don't know. And I mean, the numbers are there. When you look at what Dante Jackson has done career-wise, average of 65.5% completion percentage when thrown his way. He's able to get the football out of the air and snatch it down, 12 interceptions, and he also is coming off of the second least yards allowed, off of the second most targets in his career from this past season. So, I mean, the talent is there. The ability is there. The numbers back him up. I'm a big fan of him. If you're bringing him in, he's, I think, 26 years old, if I'm not mistaken. You sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal, something like that, just to keep him around for at least the remainder of his 20s, and then revisit once he gets to that 29 age where, you start to see corners maybe dip a little bit, and you go from there. But I think Dante Jackson would be an excellent addition to the secondary, and in a league where, wide receivers and quarterbacks are just torching defenses, I don't really think you can have too much corner depth. And who knows? They bring in Dante Jackson. I could see him being signed for anywhere from $8 to $10 million per year average, and I don't think that's a ton of money considering his talents. I think that when you look at what the top end of the cornerback class is going to be taking, or not class, but the top of the cornerback market is going to be taking in a guy like J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore. They're probably commanding 15, 16, 17, maybe even close to 18 mil. I think you get him for a bargain. But those are who I would like to see the Indianapolis Colts take in this year's free agent market. My Colts fans, fellow fans, let me know who you think in the comment section down below. Who would you like to see Indianapolis go after in this free agent market? I don't want them spending a ton of money or going after a ton of players. I like the way they've been building in free agency year over year. It just sucks that the quarterback situation has been what it has been since Andrew Luck retired. Hopefully we can sort that out. Give Teron Armstead every dollar he wants because I want to see him in Indy, and we go from there. But I appreciate y'all for watching. I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.